In this lecture, we'll take our final steps towards tuning, tweaking, and balancing our game. Let's dive in. I've got about half a dozen to a dozen or so different things that we can actually just go through and quickly modify our game just to kind of wrap up a bow on the entire project. So in no particular order, we can just kind of go through and knock those out. One of the first things that come to mind is just immediately changing our font to something to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So I'm going to go into my canvas, and with my score text and my time text both highlighted, I'm just going to actually change that to the same font as my game over text, so this bangers font here. We can probably increase it quite a bit, maybe something around 100 or so looks nice. And then I just need to actually just properly align those. So with the score text, we can do that one first. That's the one in the top right. And then we can just kind of slide this over to give it a little bit of padding. Now we don't want it to wrap, so we can just go down to the text wrapping mode and just click no wrap. I'm going to give it just roughly the same padding as I visually have on the top as I do have it on the right, so probably around 150 looks pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and do the same on the left with the width of 150 on my rect transform, just to kind of give it some nice padding. I do notice, however, when we actually click play, the score amount of 000 with 4 zeros stays, and then it actually goes to a kind of jarring 3 when you pick up a coin. So I think it would make more sense to have our score text just be a placeholder of 3 zeros instead of 4. I think our starting chunk speed when we play our level seems a little bit high to me. So let's actually go into our level generator. So let's actually just change our starting chunk move speed from 8 to 6. And I do think we can also adjust some of these min and max gravity settings as well. Particularly when we're actually all the way slowed down, some of our physics settings don't seem to be working as intended, and we're getting a little bit of floaty obstacles. So I'm actually going to keep my min gravity the same, but I actually do want to change my max gravity pretty significantly. So I'm actually going to change it from -2, where it was previously, to -8. To get our physics settings acting a little bit more properly, I'm going to pop into my physics settings. So edit, project settings, scrolling down and finding physics settings. Let's actually just change these to some nice round numbers. It doesn't particularly need to be -9.81 like Earth-like settings. So let's actually just change that to -10 on the Y. And then I think we can actually just increase the overall gravity of our game as well, just right at the beginning. So let's actually try something like -12 right out of the gate. And I think something like this probably will make a little bit more sense for when we're moving our fastest and our slowest. Let's actually just kind of give that a quick play to see what that feels like. I'm actually going to go into the game mode, slow all the way down, and just kind of keep an eye on roughly where my obstacles are when I'm actually moving my slowest, which I think is either right now or maybe I need to hit one more fence. Yeah, so right about there. With a little bit more increased min gravity settings, I think our obstacles actually coming down this bridge about this speed looks nice to me. Now, on the background particle effect, it doesn't look half bad, but I think we can actually just do a little bit of improvement on this one here. But I was kind of tinkering around with some settings behind the scenes, and I think actually a start size of something significantly bigger, let's even just try to go something like 30 to 60, I think actually looks nice. Now, you can't actually even see each particle in this case because they're actually so big. So changing our rate over time to even something like 1/10 of what we had before, probably like 100 particles per second, would probably look quite nice. And this just kind of actually fills everything up a little bit more to kind of get some of that really deep fog effect that I think I was looking for. Yeah, I think something around there looks nice. You could, of course, go ahead and tweak this to whatever you would like. For the sake of balancing our game, I do actually think apples are appearing a bit too often. So we can just go into our prefabs folder, go into each individual chunk. Well, I shouldn't say each individual chunk. We can actually just click our parent chunk prefab, and then just change our apple spawn chance to something significantly lower. Let's actually try something like, 1 in every 10 chunks, maybe something like 1 in every 8 chunks. So I think that's 0.12. And then we can actually click our checkpoint prefab and just make sure we're never spawning apples or coins on the checkpoint itself. So we could actually just change that to something like 0 and 0. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much time we want to give to the player at the beginning of the game, but I think for this MVP sort of vertical slice playthrough, I think something around 30 seconds would make sense. So let's go to our managers, find our game manager, and just change our start time to something like 30. We were mentioning last lecture that the rock audible sound when it was first hitting wasn't actually firing that audio source. So we can actually just hop into our rock class directly, and right here where we're actually initializing the collision timer, we can actually just change that float from a 0 to a 1, just to make sure that very first collision from each individual rock will actually fire that audio source. At the moment, when we actually are playing our game is never actually really scaling up in difficulty. Well, I think we can actually change that relatively easily by opening up our obstacle spawner class. At the moment, we have each individual obstacle spawn time set at, I think it's something like 4 seconds in our inspector. Well, we could do something relatively simple, like just decrease this float obstacle spawn time every single time we actually go through a checkpoint. So let's actually set that up. In our obstacle spawner class, let's just create a public void. We'll just call it something like decrease obstacle spawn time. I think something like that makes sense. We'll pass through a float. We can just call that amount. And then inside this method directly, we can actually just take obstacle spawn time and then just subtract our amount. So minus equals amount. Inside of each individual checkpoint, we just need to call this method and pass through some sort of amount. So let's go ahead and Control P, open up our checkpoint and just fire that method. And again, because we're actually only creating a checkpoint once in a while, I don't feel too dirty about just grabbing this reference on start. So let's grab a reference to our obstacle spawner. We can just call it obstacle spawner with a lowercase o, and then we can just set obstacle spawner equal to find first object by type obstacle spawner. Inside of on trigger enter after we fire game manager dot increase time, we can also just go into obstacle spawner dot decrease obstacle spawn time and then pass through some sort of amount. Let's create that as a serialized field up top for balancing and testing. We can call that something like obstacle decrease time amount. Nice to be explicit. And I think setting this to something like 0.2f would make sense to me. So let's actually just pass through our obstacle decrease time amount. Nice, let's go try that out back in Unity and make sure everything is working as intended. Great, let's go ahead and give it a play, but let's just make sure our obstacle spawner is selected. I'm just gonna keep an eye on our obstacle spawn time. I think I mentioned it was 4 seconds. It looks like it's actually 3. I think that's just fine. Let's just go ahead and make sure that each individual time we pass through a checkpoint, we're just actually subtracting 0.2 from this number over here. And I think that will kind of eloquently and relatively simply balance our game. Great, so down to 2.8. Now, you might have noticed if we actually were to just actually play through this completely, we are going to eventually actually get to a point where we're actually getting to 0 or less than 0. Now, you might not actually necessarily want to do this on your own. I'm even a little bit afraid for myself. I don't think I should actually crash my Unity project if I do this, but if we just have a little bit of fun and actually set this to something like 0, for example, if we were to go through another, 10 or 12 checkpoints or so, if we were to change this to 0, we're going to get a lot of obstacles spawning in our game, and somewhat surprisingly, I actually still have an FPS of roughly around 90 to 100. But overall, we're going to actually cause some problems. So stating the obvious, let's just go back into our obstacle spawner and just give it some sort of min obstacle spawn time. So let's just call this min obstacle spawn time by declaring a float at top. And I think setting this to something like 0.2 probably makes sense to me. So down here, when we're actually calling this decrease obstacle spawn time method, let's just check that if obstacle spawn time is less than or equal to min obstacle spawn time, then you guessed it, let's just set obstacle spawn time equal to min obstacle spawn time, just to make sure we're never actually going below 0.2 for our obstacle spawn time. Nice, let's go ahead and try that out back in Unity. For the sake of testing, I'm just going to actually change my obstacle spawn time to 0.2 directly, and we can just go ahead and give that a play to see what it feels like. And there you go. We've actually got a lot of obstacles spawning down our scene, and I don't actually think I'm ever actually going to reach the checkpoint, but I'm pretty confident we set that up correctly. And there you go. I think I'm actually at a point where I'm pretty satisfied with my project. Now, to state the obvious, there's a lot that you could continue to add to this game, so I'd like to give you some optional stretch goal challenges to stretch your game dev skills should you like to keep working on this project. Now, these are, of course, just me brainstorming some ideas that you could add to your game. Feel free to add whatever you'd like. But here are some ideas. You could do something like adjust the player speed if the level is moving faster. I noticed that when we're actually picking up a lot of apples, it can be a little bit hard to move to the left and the right and actually dodge some of the fences. It feels a little bit unfair. You could do something like increase the player speed from left to right as the player or the level itself is actually moving faster. You could probably do something a little bit more elegant in our code and balance the frequency of the fences. For example, you could actually spawn less fences early on and a little bit more fences later on in the game. You could also continue to add as many obstacles as you'd like with different rigid body settings and physics material settings. You could stretch your game dev muscles and add some additional power-ups. You could do things like freeze the time of everything but moving the player. You could do something like an invincibility shield for the player for a certain allotted amount of time. The world is your oyster. Go crazy with this one. Now, I think player jumping is going to actually be a little bit tricky. This would probably be one of the harder challenges that I could think of. You're going to probably have to refactor some code, but I do think it would make a nice addition if you could do something like jump over a fence, for example. If you wanted to try something a little bit more mathematically challenging, you could do something like add some sort of coin combo bonus if you didn't miss a coin. And the last one on this list of just brainstorming different ideas that you could include in this game would be implementing more audio. At the moment, we only have our music track and we only have the rock collision effect, but there's a lot more that you could add. And last but not least, share your game. Whether it's on sharemygame.com, on your own itch page, on the community forums, or our social media, I'm sure I speak for everyone. We would love to see your progress. And at the moment, that's kind of all I can really think about. So let's actually give it one more playthrough, but I think we just need to actually change this obstacle spawn time back to 3 for the beginning of our game. And I'm noticing we're actually very zoomed out. I probably should have changed this quite a while ago. I've got my vertical FOV set to the maximum amount of 85. Let's actually just change that back to something more reasonable. I think we had it at somewhere around 60. That way we've actually just started out a little bit more zoomed in. So when we pick up our first apple, we now get that nice zoom out effect. Well done on not only this lecture, but this entire project. When you're ready to move on, I'll see you on the project wrap up.